Today we are starting on a little project I done not too long ago. I actually put electric fans on my motor, on my radiator, two 14-inch electric fans. I ordered a relay system. Of course, I went cheap and went on eBay, and it's a single relay running off of running two fans. It's not enough power. The relay is just too weak. So today I ordered, or not today, but about a couple weeks ago, I ordered a new relay system from Jegs Performance. We're grabbing it right now. This one is a dual relay setup, and has better wires, better everything, better product altogether. I'm going to show y'all what it looks like. Around right there. I ordered that off of Jegs. It's a heavy duty dual relay, 40 to 60 amp. If I combine the relays, single relays, 25 amps, which is more than enough power to run one fan at a time. So one relay is going to run one fan, the other relay is going to run the other fan, and we're going to wire it hopefully the same way I got my other wires done. So the way I got it wired, I got the main power to the battery, I got both power feed lines to the fan, to both fans, and then I have it wide off to the two fans. Now my ground is to a little aluminum block that goes to a radiator hose, and the way it works is it's supposed to, when the car gets up to temperature, it has a little temperature sensor on it, and when the car gets up to temperature, it's supposed to complete the ground and triggers the fans to turn on. So when the motor gets up to temperature, the car is supposed to the fans are supposed to turn off, you know. So basically when they get 180 degrees, it turns on, and then the fans will turn off at about 165 degrees. So but yeah, that's how I'm hoping I can rewire these relays, because these relays got a power wire that triggers the relay. So I don't know. I'm going to be looking it over and do a little reading on it and see if I can do exactly what I want to do. It's not hard to pull everything out. I'll show y'all real quick what everything looks like. Pull everything out. Set the stuff on the ground and flip. So, see that little block right there? This is a ground wire going to there. Yes, I know the wire is red because I had to use extra wires. I'm going to wire these dual relays better. But as of right now, this is how I got it wired up. All goes to one relay, which is over here. You can see it here. And the yellow wire is main power wire, which goes here. Goes to the relay. Got the two grounds over here. And then etc, etc, etc. But we're gonna do a better job. This was just a quick hack job just to get the electric fans working. See if I can get around here to show you the fans. Two dual 14-inch fans from Jegs. I actually bought them off of a friend because he had bought a fan shroud, and these fans here he didn't need, so he sold them to me for 50 bucks, and I jumped on them, so and took them. But we're going to try to do a better job with the wiring this time, because right now that's just a hack job. It works. It really does work. Car stays at operating temperature. It doesn't get too hot. Except for here in Louisiana in the summer heat. Summertime, yes, it gets hot. We get temperatures here in Louisiana upwards 120, 125 degrees in the summertime, and those fans are working all the time trying to keep this car cooled down. If the car sits still for too long, the temperature will creep up. But I think what it is, why it's doing that, is because I have one relay that's probably a 30 amp relay powering two fans that are probably pulling 12 to 15 amps of power. So it's just not enough. And these are cheap wires, so we're going to do a little bit better job this time. Sorry if the lighting's not so great, because today we're getting winter weather. I already had sleet. Supposed to get more sleet and probably some snow, so we'll see. I'm underneath the awning, so I'm gonna stay dry while I'm doing this. And we're also gonna work on one other thing. I'm having my downstream O2 sensors. They're original pieces. I'm very sure I'm gonna have to replace them. Don't have them right now, but I'm gonna try and pull the plugs on them and look at them and see if they're maybe corroded. They are original pieces, so we'll see. Alright, so y'all bear with me. We got most of it pulled apart. I'm going to show y'all what it looks like. And, see, alright, what we did here. Here's your relay. My old relay, I should say. Disconnected the yellow wire, which was my main power wire, which went right here on my terminal. I got to cut this orange wire because that's my switch power that goes to the relay box that's underneath the headlight. This is ground wire here, which went under here. And then over here, then went ahead and cut the power wires to the fan. And here we got the goes to the block, frame. So I'm going to pull all this apart, trace these wires, because some of these wires I'm going to use. Mostly the wires on that I'm going to double check the ground wires because those ground wires also going to this frame or the body. So we're going to get started on this, and I'm going to try to see what I can do. I'll get back with you. Alright, we're back. Now, I got the relay and the wires off the relay out of the way. Now what's left is what is on the car. So, I'm going to switch the camera around. Now you can see we got a ground wire here, and then we got a ground wire here, which are both the wires that go to this over here. So we're going to keep that. Those ground wires are staying. And then I got another ground. This is a switch power that goes to the fuse box again underneath the headlight. And then this wire here, which I'm going to probably cut it shorter, or I might leave it like it is, because this was grounded where the relay was mounted. So that worked out great. And then you got the two blue wires, which are the power wires. So we're going to get the relays out of the box, and we're going to work on trying to figuring where the wires are going to go. I'm going to do a little recording of myself installing everything, but it's going to be like a fast forward kind of thing, so that way you're not sitting there for 30 minutes watching me wire something, because everybody knows wiring's boring, I know, but I wanted to give y'all an idea how the wires ran, how I got them set up, and we're going to route them a different way so that they're more appropriate. They're out of the way, they don't look ugly, people are not going to see them compared to the way I had them before. The way I had them before, they were just out in the open, if I didn't have my covers, you would see them, they would have been ugly, and it would look like a hack job or like a somebody that just didn't know what they were doing did it. I was just trying to do it fast and get it out of the way, but now I got the time today and I'm going to do it right. So y'all stick with me.
All right, everybody.
Yeah, I forgot to turn the camera on and record myself. But we got, see, the switch power hooked up. Got the ground power hooked, or the grounds hooked up. Now we got to run the power wires to the fan, and then the power wires to the battery. And then this relay system, if you run an older car with AC and you want to run fans, this relay system has a green wire that will hook up to the power source for the compressor, for the AC compressor. So when you turn your AC on, the compressor turns on, it'll send a power signal to the relays and bypass the switch power, and it'll automatically turn the fans on, which is pretty neat, but I don't need that. So I got my two front fans, which are wired into the factory harness, and they're for the AC system, so I'm not worried about that. This is just run the D2 fans for the cooling system, so I'm not worried about having to hook that wire up. I'm probably gonna cut that wire out and get rid of it so it's not in the way and it's not grounding out on anything, causing issues. Now I'm gonna get to work on hooking up. Oh no, I'm gonna keep the power unhooked. So I'm gonna work on hooking up the wires for the fans. Now I gotta figure out something, because these fans here don't have a plug that plugs into them. They got existing wires that comes right off the motor, and the existing wires, which are blue, are a tad bit smaller than what the power source wire for the relay is to it. So, and if y'all are wondering how I know how to hook this up, this kit here comes with a, how you say, wiring diagram. I'm gonna show it to you. Put the camera around right there. That is the wiring diagram for this car, for this relay. If you see, orange wire, positive to lead, fan lead. So that goes to the fan. You got your ground. There's your green wire. It says right there, green wire optional, AC override. Don't need it. It does have a fuse built into it, but I don't need it. Yellow wire is switch power. I already had a switch power hooked up to a fuse box, so I'm going to utilize that to switch power to these. They only need 12 volts. It doesn't have to be like a certain current or amps running to it. Just as long as it's 12 volts, it'll kick the relays on. We're good. Red wire, battery power, and that's pretty much it. Now they do have more of another diagram. See if I can get it in the camera. This is how you hook up. That's another diagram right here, showing you how to run the wires, where they run, and all this other stuff. So now you would think, okay, that one wire, which is the yellow wire, is the switch power. So why won't you run that to a switch so you can turn it on and off? It will turn on and off, that switch. But what's going to keep it from turning on when I don't need it is that little block right there. Has a little temperature sensor. When that sensor gets to a certain temperature, which is, I think, is 175, 180 degrees, the metal that's in it's going to melt, which is going to cause it to create a ground. And that wire right here, this wire right here, goes to the chassis. That wire that has a sensor goes to the relays, which I already got them wired in and hooked up. Now, if you're wondering how I'm doing it, all right, I use these butt connectors. I like them because they're heat shrink and they have a copper center. I'll show you over here. This is them. The blue strips are a sealing and they heat shrink. The clear heat shrinks also, but that centerpiece is lead, and you'll heat it up and it'll cause it to melt. And what it does, it solders. Lead or solders, one of the two, I can't remember. But it'll solder the wires together for a good connection. Now this is the ground that goes to the temperature sensor. I did the same thing here. and this is the switch power going to the fuse box. Yes, two wires, two wires. They're just grounds and 12 volt. Not a lot of current happening to worry there. I'm going to do not the same thing here, but that's the red wires. I'm going to strip them, connect them together, and they're going to go in the same hole, which is right in there. Works out great. Now, this is where I'm running into an issue. This is the power wire to the fan. Now, I'm going to see if I can reach down in here and show you. That's the power wire that comes off the fan. It's blue. It's a lot smaller. So, I hope that's not going to affect it, because I hate it bottlenecking, because when it comes to electricity, the more current you got running to it, and then you go from a big wire to a little wire, which is called bottlenecking, you can cause the little wire to get hot. I'm hoping I don't have that issue. I don't know how I can't get into the fan and actually solder that wire, or pull that old wire out, solder the new wire to it, and they'll get rid of the small wire and put a big wire in. I can't do it. Just can't do it. The fans are sealed. So, get down in here. There's the fan. There's the wire. Here. That does not come off. It goes right here. So, I might be able to pull that cover off, but I'm not going to go through all that right now. Yes, I know it sounds like I'm half-assing, but I'm not. I'm going to run it like that, see how it works, see if it can shut off, and blah, 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 and see if it works. It should work. I shouldn't have no issues. But we're going to finish up this wiring and go from here. Y'all hang in there. Alright, yeah. We got pretty much everything wired up but the power source. Got the power wires ran to the fans, got everything grounded, got switch power, and I'm going to show you something that I do a lot. Wires that you're not going to use, you don't want to cut it completely off at where it goes, because you never know down the road, you'll be like, shoot, I wish I never done that. I could have used those wires. So, in the process, so what I did is I cut the green wires, I stripped them, and I put butt connectors on them. That way, you know, I didn't crimp one side, I crimped the other side, and it's heat shrink, so for one side. So that way, if I ever need to, there's already butt connectors on it. Slide the wire in, crimp it, heat shrink it, call it done. I'm going to show you what it looks like. Well, my camera's not wanting to cooperate with me here. There we go. Right there. As you can see, heat shrinked and crimped on one side, and the other side left open. So that way, if I ever got to use it, I can. These are the two power wires. Everything else is ran. Oh, drop that. The way I did it, it looks a little bit better than it was before. Everything's zip tied to the fans. They run this direction. Everything's going to be hidden underneath the covers, so you'll never see them, unlike it was before. Running here, you can see the red wires. Here, these fan relays, I'm going to try tuck them down in here behind the battery, and that, you know, they'll be out of the way from damage or anything. And I got enough red wire to reach the terminal. So, I'm going to go ahead and finish up, do those power wires, everything else is hooked up, and we're going to let the motor warm up and see if everything turns on. As you can tell, I'm not no spring chicken. I ain't no young boy. I hate to say it, but I turned 37 today. Today's my birthday, January 10th. So, bending over for a period of time, my back starts hurting. So, if you notice that I had to stop, stretch for a minute, relieve the pressure on my back, that's why. I'm up there in age, you know. I'm not old, but I'm not young either. So, but so y'all Thanks for dealing with me and hanging in there. But we're gonna finish this up. I'll show you the finishing touch, and you'll see that you don't see no wires. Car passing by. But we'll get it all back together and start her up and let it warm up, and
right,
see if they kick
on.
on. Done. I'll show you the finishing touch, and it's not finished because there's going to be a few things else I need to do. So y'all hang in there, but see what it looks like. All the wires are ran. Yes, it looks like a fucking bird's nest in there, but everything's ran. These are zip tied, so it's not going to get away of anything. And the relays are back here. And all this will be covered up with a cover. It goes here. So y'all deal with it. Deal with me, and
Cold start.
we'll see everything. That sounds good. All right. Cold start. Fans should not be on, and they're not. We're good. Yes, my front ones stay on 24/7. Something to do with the wiring. I don't know what it is. Something's grounding them out, causing them to stay on. But hey, they work. They're wired into the factory harness. I don't understand why they do that, but they do it. Now I can plug up the little temp sensors on the radiator right below the battery. When I plug it in, one fan shuts off, the other one stays on. So I keep it unplugged, keep them both running. Who cares? Those are cheap eBay fans anyways, but they do a good job. They're fast. They blow a lot of air. But hey, in Louisiana you need it. But right now, I'm dealing with sleet. Was told possible snow in Louisiana. Go figure. But we're gonna let it warm up and see if they turn on. They work. I got tired of waiting on the switch, so I bypassed the switch and just grounded it off the other wire. I'll show you what I did. Alright, there's where the wire is. This goes to the sensor. If you notice, the fan's not running. I'm gonna bring it over here, touch. They work. They're blowing already too. So we're good. And that just plugs right in there. When that gets the temperature, right now that thing's still cold. I'm waiting on the motor to warm up, but it's not the temperature yet. But everything's working. Everything's working, so I'm happy with that. Fans kick on, both of them are on. Both of them are getting the temperature. Heat's working in here. Oh, I love that sound. Right now it's below, it's right around 80 degrees Celsius. So the motor's still cold, 80, 85 degrees Celsius. So yes, I know you're gonna be thinking, ain't you from America? It's like, yeah, I'm from America. And the way I got my car wired, or hooked up, because I got an aftermarket tach on my car, and it has a temperature gauge on it. It has oil pressure. It has oil temp. Oil pressure and oil temp's not working. I don't got it hooked up, but I do have the water temp hooked up, and it reads Celsius. So I had to use the supplied sensors, which are Celsius sensors, and swap out my Fahrenheit sensor with a Celsius sensor, and it reads Celsius now. And of course, it's wired into my computer. My computer, everybody's familiar with these cars. They know the computers having a tendency to wear out, or something goes wrong with them. Well, for some reason it makes my temperature gauge read 20 degrees Celsius hotter than what it really is. So it's saying it's 100 degrees Celsius when it's actually 80 degrees Celsius, around 80, 85 degrees Celsius. I can put a temperature, a thermometer on the motor, and it'll show you that the car is cooler than what it says. But I've gotten used to it and I understand how to read it now. But I'll switch it over. It's like, if you've seen my previous videos, you've seen it before. But you can see it right there. Right now it's reading 100 degrees Celsius. those fans should be kicking on if it was 100 degrees Celsius, but it's not. Right now it's probably around 80 to 85 degrees Celsius right now. So it's about 20 degrees Celsius cooler than what it is, or 20 degrees cooler than what it really reads. So, but I've gotten to understand that when that needle goes just above the 100 degrees Celsius, not in the middle between the 100 and 120, a little below the middle, and then the fans will kick on. But I've come to realize that thing reads 20 degrees Celsius hotter than what it really is. 20 degrees Fahrenheit or Celsius, I'm not 100% sure which one it is. It reads a little higher than what it's supposed to. And anybody familiar with LS400s, they know RPM gauges don't work. But so don't give me shit because I'm running a tack on my car. My RPM gauge would bounce up and down and it would read like 2,000 RPM lower than what it was supposed to, and my temperature gauge was reading hot, and I thought there was something wrong with that too. So I found a tack and they had temperature and all that on it, so I bought it, put it in the car. I cut the wires from behind the factory cluster. I left enough there to where I can, if I have to hook everything back up, I can, but I don't plan on putting a factory gauge back in this car. This tack is just temporary. My goals is to get Autolite gauges. I'm gonna get speedometer, RPM, temperature, and fuel, and probably a voltmeter. And I'm gonna make a plexiglass or a plastic face where those gauges can fit in, and I'm gonna wire those gauges into the factory harness, and they're gonna work because the factory clusters are garbage in these cars, and I'm gonna go that route, but that's later down the road. More wiring, more boring stuff, but hey, it'll work. I know one guy right now, he's in the forums, and he has it on his LS400 that he has built for drifting, but his is only RPM and volt and something else, I think temperature, but he don't have a bunch of other stuff that he needs because the car's not street legal. It's a drift car. I mean, you can drive it on the street, it looks like it'd be street legal, but it's not. Cool dude, cool car, but that's my goals for my cluster. But right now that tack's just temporary until I can afford to get all those others. But everything working, I'm happy with it. Now I got to move on and try to find the plugs for the O2 sensors and figure out why they're not reading properly. I get off and on signal. I think the passenger side one's reading 0 on my scan tool, and the driver side one's reading low numbers. So I'm hoping, possibly could be corrosion, and I can just clean out the plugs and plug them back in, and boom, the car runs great again. If they're not corroded, and I know it's the sensors. So we'll just go from there and see. And I wanted to show you all the finishing touch. Put all the plastic back in the car, and I'm going to show y'all what everything looks like. As you can see if I can make it bigger. There we go. As you can see, covers are on. You can't see none of the wires. Even over here by the battery, it looked like a rat's nest, and it wasn't. Can't see none of the wires except for the 2 red wires going to the battery. Everything else is hidden. And if you're thinking, oh, let's see on the other side. Well, look on the other side. Nothing. Come over here. Nothing. It looks a lot better now. Before, you can see the red wires right there underneath the induction piece for the intake. I didn't like it much. The fans are working better. This kit here is hidden better. It looks better. I'm happy with it. It's working. So now got to clean up my mess, which is not much. Just some